streaming. It should pop up now.
Feel like you playing it now.
Yeah. Trying to make sure it's playing.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Oh, turn off the mic for your
1, 2, 3.
You gotta mute the mic.
Oh, praise.
When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest and finding none. He saith, I will return unto my house, from whence I came out. This is a story of temptation, the condition of the battle. When he knocks, what will you do?
Kick the bad habit, 8 years clean. Let the homies go and added Christ to my team. Brand new job kinda took me off the scene, but I get every other Sabbath off. I gotta make the screen. Job shot me a promotion, new suit, a new desk. Raised the pay a little, but they doubled up the stress. Called me on my off day, asking if I could flex. Seeing I broke the Sabbath once this month, damn it, then what's the rest? 11:30, I'm out the gizzo. Deuces, I got the gizzo. Ran into an old homie in traffic, we call him Renzo. Gotta keep it short, cause he Carlos to bang 6-0. But I met the cat in preschool, love him like he my kinfolk. Say he need a ride to the corner, back to the hood store. Ran to get a couple of donuts and Coke and Cheetos. Gun went off, ran what these niggas shooting at me for. Asleep before I even know, wondering where I went wrong. When they can knock it, them old demons, yeah, they coming too. I ain't trying to scare Phinehas, but what you gon' do? Temptation knocking, who you running? And the clock is saying tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Pay attention, this is a split decision. Tick, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock. This is scripture, choose your life or death. Kick the bad habit, 8 years clean. Let the homies go and added Christ to my team. Brand new job, tried to take me off the scene, but I told him I need the Sabbath off. Ain't dying for no greens. Deal got me a demotion, more hours, more stress. Dropped the pay a little, but I got the day of rest. Called me on my off day, asking if I could flex. Told him I won't break the Sabbath day. Note this for all the rest. 11:30, I'm out the dizzo. Deuces, I got the gizzo. Ran into an old homie in traffic, we call him Renzo. Gotta keep it short, cause he Carlos to bang 6-0. But I met the cat in preschool, love him like he my kinfolk. Say he need a ride to the corner, I told him gave the brother a couple of flyers, he camped and went home. News came on, Rick killed the corner in front of the wood stove. Tried to catch me slipping, bro, about my father's business though. When he can knock it, what you gon' do? Them old demons, yeah, they coming too. I ain't trying to scare Phinehas, but what you gon' do? Temptation knocking, who you running? And the clock is saying tick, tock, tick, tock, tick. Pay attention, this is a split decision. Tick, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock. This is scripture. Now the moral to the story in this life, it ain't that complicated. Choose your life or death, you got the option, you must demonstrate it. Come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul, there will be tribulations. Race ain't to the swift, you might trip and you gon' need the patience. Believe it, man, the times may change, but these demons remain the same. If you don't change your ways, you gon' stumble at the same things. Hit your spiritual ceiling, no growth, no real change. Making all the wrong decisions, repentance was just a phase. Hey, I'm just here to tell the truth. The devil coming through, now what you gon' do? Leave him at the door, invite the whole crew. These conditions of the battle, since Adam you have to choose. Either pick God or be missile food. If you play around with sin, then he gon' get y'all too. Life and death is set before us, win-win or lose-lose. It's repent or die, the decision's on you. When you can knock him, what you gon' do? Them old demons, yeah, they coming too. I ain't trying to scare Phinehas, but what you gon' do? Temptation knocking, who you running? And the clock is saying tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Pay attention, this is a split decision. Tick, tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick,
great one here tonight. We have one of the pioneers of righteous music here to showcase his abilities. Let's get started.
Unquestionably uncontested. See, wisdom came swinging, no questioning my profession. This message is insurrection and guessing to leave you desolate. No vexing my elevation, my stasis is on some space. Better learn something, keep it moving while you're next to him. Not the one for bragger boasting, homie, I'm a veteran.
Like, where you get that wisdom
Understanding this is heaven sent. I learned it from the bishops in the trenches with the best of them. Mind frame silly, but you don't want to mess with him. And Deke go ride the beat cool, cause he ain't known for stresses. Eclectic yet intelligent. Google all of our relevance. I'm falling after Solomon. Knowledge on all these elements. Tell them they need an elephant running through their delegates. Caesar tried to seize them, but these demons lack the eloquence. Conductor on this train ran over if you're negligent. No need for introduction. This the junction to the medicine.
Gee willikers, Bob, that was exciting. Oh my goodness. But see, here's where fatigue sets in. He's got a little old now, so let's see if he can still withstand 2 verses.
Old school with it, Motorola if you beefing with me. Young and trying to sink, nah, but he can't catch the frequency. Meeting strong drink, aged men back at the embassy. Spiritually another level, this envy jumps on our enemies. Peak, can't contend with me, neither will you ascend with me. Hating is just a phase that you chasing, so make amends with me. Please, you offended cause Jay and Jesus is English? He ask him to read a sentence in Hebrew, he gets to fidgeting. Killing me with this niggatry, it ain't meant to be. I got a script, but he won't get with me. Guess he's been with me, I'll never flip, I got a king to see. This ain't a thing for me. I'm on a ship to kiss in Haiti. Please don't play no games with me. I'm fixing faces for my nation. Burn rubber, this is it for me. And Christ gon' crack the sky, prophesy cause it's history. Depart from all evil and emulation, just sit with me. An epistle of a soldier on a mission set for victory.
Whoa! What a display, Bob. I mean, pure talent, Bob. He came, he displayed, he showed why he is one of the pioneers of righteous music.
Christ. I see Christ in you. You my brother. Yeah, I see Christ in
I esteem all my bros to be better than me. Truth be told, truth be told, this is what we must do to avoid envy. Truth be told, truth be told, and blacks and Hispanics are family. Truth be told, truth be told, I just pray you see Christ when you see me. Truth be told, truth be told.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. You are now tuning into Truth Be Told DC, broadcasting live. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the truth according to the Bible, hosted by IUIC DC. For music, clothing, and instruments of learning, visit originalroyalty.com and israelunite.org. Shalom.
Shalom, fam. Welcome back to Truth Be Told DC. I'm Officer Matthew to my right.
Officer Mendel. Officer Daniel.
To my left.
Officer Phinehas.
So today's topic is gangs from the cradle to the grave. So we're going to touch on one thing that plagues our community heavily. So we're going to show where it came from and what are the solutions to getting our young men and women out of the gang. So before we get into that, let's open up with John 8:32.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So the truth is that you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans make up the 12 tribes of Israel, and you're called to repentance in these last days. So let's go ahead and get Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. So this is Moses speaking to the children of Israel in the wilderness when you read Deuteronomy 1:1. So let's go ahead and get that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So this is our contract between the children of Israel and the Most High. So if we kept the commandments and followed them diligently, we will be above all nations on the earth, showing you that there's no such thing as equality in the scriptures. That's the first point. The second point is that we will be the top nation on the earth. So it wouldn't be no need of gang activity because we will be above all people, not in the decayed state that you currently see us in. So let's get the flip side of that if we didn't keep the commandments.
Verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So we all know that a curse is a bad thing, and all these curses that the Most High is going to list from verse 15 on are going to fall on the children of Israel. So read the next verse.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Cursed shalt thou be in Chicago.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Baltimore, Detroit, Flint, Michigan, Washington, D.C., Compton. These places are cursed places. Nobody will want to live there. Read.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So cursed were we in the field, the cotton field. We're bringing up today. The unemployment numbers. We're nowhere near on the same page as the other nations. So these curses are still on us today. Read.
Cursed shall be thy basket in thy store.
Cursed shall be thy basket, meaning your savings account. Blacks have the least, and Latinos have the least amount in their savings account. What is it? The average white family has, 1,000 times more wealth than a black household. So that's a curse, and it says in your store. We predominantly teach in 100% quote-unquote black communities, and none of the businesses in those respective communities are owned by our people.
Most of the houses ain't owned by people. They be renting, Section 8 and all that other kind. They don't even own nothing. They barely can make it from, month to month.
Right. So get verse 48. Get verse 48. So this is the beginning process of us being this is the beginning steps of a destroyed people that forms the gangs. Read.
Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things.
So we had to serve our enemies because we wouldn't want to serve the Most High God in the want of all things. That includes education, our knowledge of who we are. We don't know who we are, so that's why you got brothers and sisters go looking for a sense of community and family in the gangs. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed.
So that's over a period of time. The yokes of iron were on our neck till we were so mentally destroyed they could take the yokes of iron off and we wouldn't run anywhere and we would think that we were free, but we're not. So let's go to Jeremiah 31 and 22.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
So now they wonder, what does that got to do with gang activity? You shall see, it says, the woman shall compass the man. And we're going to go into the significance of that because that's out of order according to the scriptures. So these are the beginning stages of a broken people, and now you're seeing broken households. Let's jump down to Lamentations 4 and 3.
The book of Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 3. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostriches in the wilderness.
Right, so now we're saying the Most High saying the daughter of his people, even the sea monsters take care of their children. But our women have become cruel because what they have been mentally destroyed here in America or Babylon the Great. And they're like the ostriches. So let's get more information on that. Actually, no, let's get Psalms 83. Let's get Psalms 83 because why are our sisters like the ostriches? Why are they destroyed? Why have they put themselves in authority over the man? Let's get that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And those that hate the Most High have lifted up the head, meaning been lifted up in society and become very prideful. Read.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have what?
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So now it's getting into the crafty counsel against thy people, the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Yeah, so run this video real quick as an example of crafty counsel. Go ahead and run that video real quick.
Welfare people gonna find out, then you're gonna be the man. The welfare man.
Someone don't love my children and I'm meant to be unfit. I must divorce him, cut all my ties with the consequences that make me sick. It's a hard sacrifice. Hard sacrifice. Not having me a loving man. Society gave us no choice. Tried to silence my voice, pushing me on the welfare.
It's Miss K-Back, Mama. Charlie, don't just stand there. Let her in.
I'm trying to prove my ignorance.
Hello, Charles.
For goodness sake, why should he have me so?
Hello there. I'm sorry, this is the door. Children, would you cut that music down? Just turn it down.
Hello, Mrs. Price.
Hi.
How you been?
Oh, grand. Living like a queen.
Mrs. Price, have you been working?
No.
Because if you have, I really have to know. Otherwise, you get into trouble.
No, I ain't been working.
Mrs. Price, you know I'm your friend, but you have to be honest with me.
I ain't been working.
Well, I understand a man's been visiting you regularly this past month.
You are not supposed to spy on us.
I didn't spy on you, Mrs. Price, but someone has.
It must be that lady, that bitch across the street. She'll say anything, that bitch.
The thing is, Mrs. Price, if something comes out later and I don't know about it, you'll be in all kinds of trouble. So, if you've been seeing this man...
Well, what is this? Am I not supposed to see a man? What am I, a damn nun?
No, but if you've been sleeping with a man and he's been giving you things, I'm sorry, but I have to know.
Do you sleep with a man?
Now, that's none of your business.
It's none of your business either.
You're wrong, Mrs. Price. It is our business. This man may be bringing things into your home which you may not be deducting. Now, you know I have to deduct you on those things.
What things? What things, damn it? You have a man come over for dinner, he brings you a bottle of wine. I have a man come over for dinner, he brings me a damn six-pack. Oh, there are two left, Miss K-Back. Would you like a beer?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Price.
I'm sorry, too. I figured it out. It comes to about $1.35. If he brings my kids some soda, that's about 80 cents. Now, with quick figuring, that comes to about $2.15, Miss K-Back. That's plus tax.
You tell me that only gives you $2.15.
How much do you get?
That's that crafty counsel. That's that welfare. She couldn't see a man. It had to be totally dependent on the government. That's her husband.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that that legislation was passed in 1965 as legislation called the Great Society. Along with that came the right to vote, the welfare system, Section 8 housing, all of these things.
And that's what they just witnessed. She had the social work come over there and check on you, make sure that you are in an impoverished state to keep you there,
and
not to lift you up.
To make sure that there wasn't no man in the house. That was the main thing, is to get the man out of the house. That was the whole goal of that. And that's what the scripture that we just read, Jeremiah 31 and 22. Because when LBJ passed that legislation, he had said that he was going to have the niggas, he said niggas, voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And how do niggas vote? Democrat.
Facts.
But when you look at the communities that they control, because the Democrats control Chicago, they control Baltimore, they control Detroit. All these places that they control, they hellholes for our people. So is that love or hate? Read Psalms 83 again, verse 3.
The book of
hold on, let me see. I wonder where they say they hate. They that
verse
hate
2.
Number 2.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They that hate God and hate us. Because if you look at Detroit, Baltimore, Compton, all these places, is that love or hate for our people, how our people are getting treated? That's hate. That's obvious that that's hate. That's not love. And they control them areas.
100%.
100% by Democrats. And that's what they tell our people. If we want to make it, that's who we got to vote for. And I'm not saying the Republicans are good. I'm just saying that these people are not helping us. Either party is not helping us.
Right, that's the point, because we attacking our strongholds. So don't think we up in here endorsing independence or whatever. That's not what we endorsing. We endorsing the scriptures. But our people are in that stronghold, and again, that's why our communities are in the shape that they in, because of sin, and that's an example of sin that you just witnessed. Read verse 3.
Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And that's that welfare system. That's one of many crafty counsels against the children of Israel.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And we hidden because we don't have any idea who we are. Read.
They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That's why you don't see Israelite from the tribe of Judah on any application that you will fill out, or from the tribe of Benjamin, Manasseh, Reuben. You're not going to see that. Read.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
And they might, these heathen nations might fight one against another on the stage. China versus America versus Russia versus North Korea. But guess what? When it comes time to keeping the children of Israel in sin and in slavery at the bottom, they all agree to that. That's their common enemy. Read.
They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom.
Edom is the so-called white man. Read.
And the Ishmaelites.
That's the Arabs.
Of Moab.
Hey, can we prove those two real quick? Because that's
let's
real
get that
easy to prove.
real quick.
Genesis 36:1, because he said Edom. So we're just going to prove it real quick. I know we do this routinely, but we have new people that tune in. So get Genesis 36:1. So we just focusing on Edom and Ishmael, because those are the two that are real easy to do real quick. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 36 and verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom.
So Esau is Edom. It's the same exact thing. So let's get Esau.
Right. So this is the book Classical Biblical Baby Names by Joda Tropea. She's a Rhodes Scholar. So I'm on page, what page is 72? At the bottom, it says, of interest. According to the commentaries on the Hebrew scripture, Esau is considered a significant character in world history and the forefather of the Roman Empire.
So he's the forefather of the white man. So then when you go back here to verse 6, it says the tabernacles of Edom, or the white man, is an enemy against us.
Number one enemy.
Number one enemy. And then the Ishmaelites. Get Ishmael.
So this is out of the same book, Classical Biblical Baby Names, page 91. Ishmael. Right here at the top, it says, of interest, Ishmael is considered the ancestor of the Arab people.
So the Arabs. So the number 1 and 2 is the white man and the Arabs. And then when you look at what we got, the number 1 religion is Christianity, the white man religion. And the second one is Islam.
So let's finish that out. Let's finish out verse 6 and we're going to keep it moving. Yeah, Psalms 83 and 6. Yes, sir. Psalms 83 and 6. So you want to finish that out to prove the point.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes.
There you go. So the number 3 spot that's the Chinese man. That's why they 1, 2, and 3 owner of businesses and property in our communities. So let's go ahead and go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Because there's a reason why that they're not giving out anything for free to your benefit. Believe me, it's a wicked agenda behind everything that this man does. He does a diligent search to search out iniquity. That's what the scriptures say. Let's get that.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
And that's the problem that we see when we out on the street. It's a lot of foolish of our people don't realize that they are oppressed. That's why when people come to say, it's like, why y'all so angry? Read that again.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
So you got to be a foolish person if you're not upset at the state of your people. So, and that's to prove that, as our people was oppressed heavily back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. What was they doing? They was marching. But what did happen when they was marching? When they went down there marching City Hall, what did the Esau give them? Right, but finish that out, the last part of that.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
That's the gift. They went down there marching, this, that, and the third. They came out with government jobs. The gift destroyed the heart, meaning the mind. The Negro went straight to sleep.
Gave him affirmative action, section 8.
A toilet that he could sit on a white man's toilet.
Welfare.
He could drink out his faucet.
And gave him the right to vote. Here, nigga, vote.
Done.
And that's it.
And when you actually look at the numbers, that's when the black community really started going downhill. That was the beginning of the end of the black community, so to speak.
That's right. I can attest.
Business ownership, everything.
Because I grew up, I was a young boy in the 70s, and the state of our people back then was way better than now. It was very rare for you to see a single family home. Like, very rare. In my community, we only had like one family that just had a mother and a son. that was out of the whole neighborhood. And now that's pretty much commonplace. It's very rare now to see two parents in a house.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and go to Isaiah 3 and 12. That's a heavy point.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors.
So now y'all wondering, how are our children oppressors? The topic is gangs. They oppress you because you scared to go outside. You scared to even throw out the new TV box in front of your house. You gotta cut the thing up in the shreds and then throw it in the trash can because the Negro break up in your house and take your TV.
Yeah, you got your TV box in the shredder in your house.
Right. You know, that's how the young people oppressed. They doing drive-bys. They hanging out in front of the liquor store. That's oppression. Read.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
Who rule over them kids?
And women rule over them.
You see the black woman raising the child. Read.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
So who's leading in the black community? The woman. Who's leading in the church? The woman.
Hey, don't forget to say strong black woman.
Oh, I forgot.
Don't say that. You ain't never heard of a strong Chinese woman or a strong white woman, but we got the strong black woman.
And it come with all this masculinity behind it. She got the combat boots on with the fatigue pants. The strong black woman, single, with some bad children. Read.
They which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path.
So the way of the path is destroyed because the way of the path is the Bible. That's destroyed because the single mom, she trying to take her kids to church on the wrong day, celebrating birthdays, Christmas, Easter. The path is destroyed. So let's get that second Ezra. Let's see what the Bible says about these kids coming in these last days in these single parent homes.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again.
Because that nuclear fire is coming. There's confusion all throughout the place. We got transgenders, we got transracial, all kinds of foolishness now. You don't even know what. Then they saying don't say female no more, male. What the hell is this? It's more than two sexes.
I seen
since when?
That said you can't call your child a boy or a girl until they decide what gender they are. Once they start to think on their
Where you see that at?
It's an article. It was a dead article on Fox.
Hey, what about that dude that say he's
the fat white man saying he's a Filipino Asian woman.
I wasn't even talking about that one. I was talking about the dude that identifies himself as a dog. And he wears a dog outfit and walks around on all fours all day.
Go ahead, Joe. That's the confusion. That's why that fire got to come. Because it ain't you can't cure that mass mental illness. Read.
And the fire shall be off sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places.
And you see all kinds of beasts rolling up on the shore. They had 150 dolphins. Everybody confused.
And the menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
And the menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. You see that? It's saying that these unclean, these sinful women going to bring forth monsters. And you see these little kids when you at the grocery store, little monsters jumping up in the grocery cart, hollering, screaming, knocking stuff off the shelves. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
But that goes back into the crafty counsel.
Exactly. Because then you can't even beat your kids.
Well, you can't do that, but also by them destroying the family with the welfare system where you couldn't have a man in the house. And then we're going to show you some other things later on, how they actually systematically destroyed the black family as we go through this lesson.
And it's a systematic approach, as officer said. So get that Isaiah 42 and 22.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22.
And this is a result of the menstruous woman bringing forth these monsters. Where are these monsters at?
But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. And they are hid in prison houses.
They hid where?
They are hid in prison houses.
So the snares and the holes is what? The drugs, the guns, the gangs. It's a people that's robbed and spoiled. You robbed of your heritage, the knowledge of who you are. As a result, you are spoiled, meaning ruined. So now your children are going to be in the prison houses and these various snares and traps. Well, it ain't no coincidence that he take all the jobs out of the community and bring drugs, and he know people got to eat.
Yeah, he bring the drugs in with his CIA and then lock you up. Had the federal agents bring the drugs in, then had the same federal agents come and lock you up.
Right. That's crafty counsel.
That's what it is. Let's go
ahead and run that Bloods and Crip.
There's some foul language, though. Just warning you.
Foul language. Run that from y'all got the timestamp right on that? Okay, all praises. So go ahead and run that. Now, close your ears if you're sensitive.
Nowadays, the fathers or the black men my age are either dead or in jail. And one of the problems we have is if they're going to try to arrest the problem, that means they're putting all the black men in jail.
A 2003 Bureau of Justice report reveals that 28% of African American men, more than 1 in 4, will be jailed or sent to prison in their lifetime.
We have engaged in this country in an absolutely historically unprecedented experiment in mass imprisonment. We now have an imprisonment rate that is 6 to 7 times higher than it has ever been before in our history.
It's a hustle called capitalism. Got my niggas in prison or stuck in the system, yeah.
In 2007, California's governor announced plans to spend $7.4 billion to build 40,000 new prison beds.
I'm from a place where the fucking Terminator is the governor.
You look at the population of the people in the penitentiary, particularly from the 1980s going forward, black men are disproportionately represented. That's the new cotton field right there, the pen.
Concrete slave ships never move. With niggas like us get used like a mule. Don't let them catch you, arrest you, strip and undress you, throw you in a cesspool.
What this means is we are breaking up even the possibility of there being intact families with a mother and a father present, raising a child together.
The nigga
because we are sending the men off to prison at unprecedented rates, usually for nonviolent offenses.
The ghetto is a nigga trap, take the cheese. Soon as you do it, here come the police. Invented and designed for us to fail. Where you gon' end up, dead or in jail? The ghetto is
Even with time served, many of those determined to start a new life find little freedom in their release.
I go to get a job, I'm working for Xerox, and I lied on the application, and they found out I was on parole, and I lost my job.
I used to be jealous of my wife going to work every day. This is my wife. A woman that stood by me, grew up with me, been with me ever since we was kids. And she would go out the house and go to work, and I would be mad at her because she could go to work, and I couldn't go. I would be mad because she's paying the bills, and I couldn't pay the bills.
Man, I felt like, man, we over here, man, we locked in the box, man. No matter what we do, we get a record, you're not getting nothing. I just got the pen. They don't hire me because I'm a parolee. That's what I'm going to do. Just sit out here and be broke? Stop it. You got myself some weeds, some dope, some crystals, some heroin, off in the rob.
To make ends meet.
It's the bottom line.
I'm not finna see my nephew, my son, my mama, or nobody starve because these motherfuckers won't give me no job, so I gotta do what I know how to do.
There's never no cycle to get us out of this. There's just a cycle to get us back into it.
So, of course, people are going to behave in ways that are antisocial if we don't let them behave in pro-social ways.
When you hear America saying there's going to be a war on crime, to a black person that means that's a war on black people.
When they say a war on gangs, I say that's a war on me. When they say war on drugs, I say that's a war on me. Every war they got is a war against me and my people.
We need to come in here and solve this problem, not attack this problem, because here's a people that's already angry. I don't have nothing to lose if you attack me, sir. I'm being attacked every day anyway. I'm being shot at every day anyway. So you shooting at me, you putting me in jail, don't mean nothing to me.
That's where the gang problem, so-called, is. It's been redefined as a crime problem and a gang problem, but it's really an issue of no work and dysfunctional schools and so on.
We know that what we've been doing to deal with gang violence isn't working, but we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And then we say, well, the fact that it isn't working doesn't mean that we're acting out of ignorance or maybe we need to learn something. We say it just proves that these kids are unredeemable.
It's a belief.
You see that? That's that crafty counsel. The brother couldn't even get a job. You know what I'm saying? But you still got to pay taxes and child support, though. But you can't get a job.
Hey, but you heard what the dude said at the end.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They doing it on purpose.
Right.
The federal agents is bringing the drugs in, then turning around and locking you up for having
right.
it. And then what's that man, Bill Clinton, that played the saxophone, the first black president?
Right.
Hit you with the 3 strikes, you out.
And he was finding the drugs for his man Bush. Bush won in Little Rock.
Y'all don't believe me? Listen to Ice Cube. He rapped about it.
A whole bunch of rappers rapped about it.
Yeah, they know the connection, because a lot of people don't know that Bill Clinton was CIA. Because George Bush was the head of the CIA. That's why they named the building after him. Bill Clinton came in underneath him. They was friends way before the presidency. A lot of people don't know that because y'all want to believe the lies. Y'all don't want to hear the truth.
And the crafty counsel was he set them up so to bring the drugs, and everybody got fat under Bush. And then when Bill Clinton came and that's when they started locking brothers up.
Then they got fat on the prison system,
right,
the private prison system.
And that vacuum power really created the explosion in the gang numbers in the community when they had all the kingpin brothers getting locked up back in the late 80s and early 90s.
And don't forget about all them crack babies we got to deal with now.
Right.
That's why some of y'all retarded out there.
That's a whole nother subject.
Crack babies running around.
Yeah, all that stuff. That's that crafty counsel, though. So let's get that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net.
So the scriptures already prophesy our sons will fall away from the truth. They will lie at the head of the street or the corner. That's the head of the street, the corner, as a wild bull in the net. Meaning these young brothers, you don't want to walk down a block and then hit a corner full of them young jokers. You don't know what they're going to do.
They are full of fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God.
So the fury of the Lord is the curses that we read through, some of the briefly read through in Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. That's full of the fury of the Lord. So that's what that's saying. So let's get that Deuteronomy 28, 65.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 65. And among these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall thy sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind.
So this ain't your rest, because we got some people that ain't affected by that. They live in the highlight. They live in the white folks. Esau spraying nigga go home spray painting on your house. You think you living good, but the scripture said you ain't gonna find no rest. This is not our rest, black man, black woman. So go ahead, officer.
Yeah, but the Negro want to make this his rest. You know, you got pastors out there, even though the scriptures say this is Babylon the Great and this place is going to be destroyed, they praying for the country. And, you know, when Obama was in there, they praying for the president and all that. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with, praying for your family's well-being or anything like that. But understand that when Christ come back, he ain't going to be sitting down negotiating with Trump. It's going to be a wrap. He coming down the rules. So this place at some point has got to end. You got to understand that. So let's go to Leviticus 26 and 17.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 17. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies.
You're going to be slain before who?
You shall be slain before your enemies.
So you're going to be slain before your enemies. So when you read the Deuteronomy, you read 48 earlier, right? That our enemies is going to put yokes of iron upon our neck. If you type in right now on Google yokes of iron, you're going to see there's our pictures that comes up, our ancestors.
Right.
And who put the yokes of iron on our neck? Because the Bible is saying that those people are our enemies. So it's saying slave before your enemies. What happened with, what is that, Freddie Gray? Michael Brown? Trayvon Martin?
The brother
slain
that got
before the enemies.
choked out, Eric Gardner.
And keep going.
They that hate you.
They that do what?
They that hate you shall reign over you.
So they that hate you will reign over you. Why is it now when we say that the white man hates Negroes, everybody gets upset, y'all racist? But in the 60s, if you say, well, who hates you? It would have been easy. But after that, welfare and all this other stuff coming into play.
Don't forget that TV.
Oh, yeah, that TV.
That right there. We're going to do another special on that. Believe that. That's coming.
The TV and that Christianity, where God loves everybody, which is not in the scriptures. That God loves everybody. Matter of fact, let's just prove that, man. Just go get the scripture, because I know people out there, no, God don't hate. He loves everybody. Get that. You know what I want. You already know. This used to be my favorite. Still one of my favorites. Got to get this every now and then, because the Negro might get comfortable. Got to wake him up. God don't hate. He loves everybody.
Y'all niggas is evil.
Everybody's created equal.
Let's see who the real hater is.
Yeah, let's see the number one hater. Read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written.
As it is written, because it's written in Malachi 1 and 1 through 4.
Jacob have I loved.
He loves the 12 tribes of Israel.
But Esau have I hated.
He hates the white man. That's just breaking it down straight.
Did it say as it is written or as the brothers in purple reading?
As it is written.
As it is written. So now, let's get the book again, because they might have a short memory, or some people might just be tuning in late. Go ahead and get Esau again.
Got to get Esau.
Read that verse again while he get that. Romans 9:13, because I just want to make the connection, because I don't want nobody to sit here and say this is our private interpretation. Matter of fact, you can look up Herod the Great on Google. It's going to tell you that he's an Edomite.
Right, so let's
which
read
was a
this.
Romans. So get that real quick. Romans 9:13.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
Okay, so let's find out who Esau is.
So classical biblical baby names, Esau, page 72. Of interest, according to the commentaries on Hebrew scripture, Esau is considered a significant character in world history and the forefather of the Roman Empire.
Okay, so I had to go to that because Negroes, they don't believe the Bible, so you have to just keep saying the same thing over and over again so they can understand, because when you look at the crafty counsel that's in our communities, with the government dropping in the drugs, with them using COINTELPRO to
Churches on every corner.
Yeah, to break up the leaders.
The civil rights movement.
Yeah, the civil rights movement. All of them infiltrated. Martin Luther King shot.
Malcolm X
shot.
Fred Hampton
shot. All of them.
Huey Newton on drugs.
But these people, you know, when you say something, you know, when you bring out the truth against them, then all of a sudden you in a hate group or something like that. This is just facts, people. Let's go to Exodus 23 and 2. It's just facts. We got to face the truth. The truth might not be. That's why, you know, when I was little, I was growing watching, what's his name, Jack Nicklaus, the actor. You can't handle the truth.
There was a few good men told him you couldn't handle the truth.
A lot of people can't handle the truth. Go ahead and get that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Neither shall thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
Okay, so don't fall. So this is going into what we're talking about with the gangs, because what do gangs do? They follow multitudes of groups to do evil. And then also the second part is talking about after judgment has been rest, you don't run your mouth against that. Speak on that, but that really not tying into the title. So let's go to Proverbs 1 and 10.
Yeah, that's heavy, man. Don't follow that multitude to do evil. Because even before you get in, you get the beat down before you join the gang.
Oh, you do get the beat down on it.
It's evil when you getting in.
Yeah, or like a lot of the sisters, they got to get raped to get in the gang or something like that. Gang raped and all this other stuff. Go ahead and get that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
So this is going into following along. When you around people that's doing all types of wickedness and stuff like that, they're going to try to entice you. You know what I mean? Like selling drugs. Man, look at all the money I got, or that I made, you know, or something like that. Go ahead.
If they say, come with us, let us wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause.
Because a lot of times, sometimes don't they have like gang initiation where you got to go out and you got to kill somebody?
Yeah.
And do that type of stuff? Yeah, go ahead.
Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil.
They worried about getting your money.
I'm about to get this. I'm about to get on come up. Take all his stuff.
Yeah, all of that type of stuff that's really worthless. When you get, you know, like you take somebody TV, how much you gonna get for a TV? You can go to Best Buy and get like a 50-inch TV.
Right.
Like
or they be jacking people for their cell phones. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
Like that,
this stuff
This is
just
crazy,
sick, man.
Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path.
Go ahead.
For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood.
You see that? Their feet run to evil. They be doing that on World Star. As soon as a fight break out or something, everybody running over there with their cell phone.
World Star.
Yeah, all that type of stuff.
All manners of coonerisms what you see in our people.
And they make haste to shed blood. Go ahead.
Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood.
Black on black crime.
They lurk privily for their own lives.
Man, that's telling you something right there. The Bible is heavy, man. He know the Israelites. Because you got Latino on Latino crime.
Yeah, they call it brown on brown crime.
Brown on brown
You
crime.
never heard white on white crime.
Or Chinese on Chinese crime.
Even with the Arab man blowing himself up, you never heard Arab on Arab crime.
Nah, they don't do that. All right, so where we at now? We're going to the book. Let's get the book. We got to bring out the hard truths. I know you don't talk about this type of stuff in the church. We understand that. You have to understand the church was set up by the oppressor. You look at like the religion of the Baptists. Who set up the Baptist religion? Wasn't the KKK Baptist?
They most certainly was. They didn't change their doctrine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember like a big overhaul of the Baptist doctrine.
Right.
And that same Baptist doctrine did what? Kept us in slavery. Go ahead and get that.
You want me to read all the highlighted?
Yeah, just to highlight it.
June 15th, 1975. Oh, I'm sorry. The title of this book is called Monster, the autobiography of a LA gang member. Page 3. June 15th, 1975, I proudly strode across the waxed hardwood stage of an auditorium in the 54th Street Elementary School. I first sensed my radical departure from childhood when I was suspended a month before graduation, driven home by Mr. Smotherman, the principal, and not allowed to go on the grad class outing for flashing a gang sign on the school panorama picture. Mr. Smotherman was appalled and accused me of destroying a perfectly good picture, not to mention that I was starting to show signs of moral decay. Actually, half of the things Mr. Smotherman told me I didn't catch because I was listening and wasn't listening, and besides, my mind had been made up weeks prior to having gotten caught flashing the sign on the panorama picture. How I expected to get away with the flashing on the photograph is beyond me, but two, it points up my serious intent even then, for I was completely sold on becoming a gang member.
Did he say he was already in he witnessed the moral
decay?
The moral decay.
You know, a lot of that is taught in the school system.
Yeah, the school to prison pipeline.
That's what it
They
is.
teach
a
that.
lot of it is taught that. We didn't really have that problem when we was teaching ourselves.
No, we didn't, because everything, when you go to school, everything is about this great white man, this great, white woman. And they're like, oh, you niggas get 28 days. Then you minus the weekend. It's like 16.
Yeah, but the history that they tell you about us ain't even really like a lot of history. You know, when I was in school, black history was just Martin Luther King. They wouldn't even really talk about Malcolm X.
They ain't talking about Malcolm X or the Black Panthers.
What's the lady that was on the bus?
Not on the bus.
Rosa Parks. Yeah,
you got Rosa Parks and a little bit of Harriet, not too much of Harriet Tubman.
So they give you about 200 years of history, maybe.
No, they give you about 3 or 4 years, because they don't go in the real Harriet Tubman.
Nah,
they go about sitting in the front of the bus and Martin Luther King's dream. They not teaching nothing else in there.
Go ahead and get that.
Page 10. This is all quotations. It says, if anybody get caught for this, ride the beef, because there ain't no snitching here. Which is against the scriptures, by the way.
It is. Leviticus 5:1. When you see evil, we can police our own neighborhoods. We wouldn't have to worry about getting shot by the police if we followed the commandments in the Bible. Go ahead.
We piled into the Mustang, Trey Ball driving, without a gun. Lep sat next to Trey Ball with the old, ugly 44 Huck. Directly behind Lep held the 410 between his legs. Fly next to him had the sawed-off single-shot 12-gauge. I sat next to him with the pump, and GC was on my left with his 38. In silence, we drove block after block north into enemy territory. There they go, Lep said, spotting the gathering of about 15 people. Damn, they deep too. Look at them fools. I looked at my enemy and thought, tonight is the night. I'll never stop until I kill them all.
Wow. See, that's the evil that we got towards us. We got a lot of hate towards ourselves.
Feet swift run to shed blood, man.
That's what it is.
And he's talking about the brother that looked like you, your enemy. That show you that we are in a decayed state. The man that looked like me is my enemy. Not the man that got me set up in these projects. They call them projects because they were science projects or experiments, and they got us in there. He not the enemy. The brother that looked like me is the enemy. That's just simple people, man.
So let's read about this in the scriptures. We're about to get it right now. Just what we read out of the book.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 21. The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets.
You see that? The brother said he rolled up on them. They was out in the streets, right? So once they shot down on them, they was on the ground. Dead. We killing our own. Go ahead.
My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword.
So it was a sword back then. It's a gun today.
Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied.
They don't have no remorse. A lot of times when you see the gang members and stuff, they don't even have no remorse when they sentencing them, because they got so much hatred built up against their own people. Go ahead. Let's go ahead to Lamentations 4 and 17.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
How would this nation save us when they hate us? You understand that? You're going to go to the same man that's killing you and ask him to give you justice on himself. Does that make any sense?
That's a sick people.
And we actually think that we're going to get justice. The Negro didn't learn under Obama when they had the black president. He didn't have no excuse. We had, he had the whole Congress and the Senate. And what did he do for the Negro? He gave him transgender bathrooms. That's all he did.
And more death in Chicago.
Exactly. Go ahead. You going to get 18? Oh, that was it on that. Okay, so let's get the next video. Let's get the next video.
Gang violence has been a part of some Los Angeles neighborhoods for decades, but it wasn't until the 1980s that gang members saw their biggest money-making opportunity with crack cocaine. Little did they know that the CIA was using them as pawns in a larger scheme, allowing the more affordable drug to come into their neighborhood. Freeway Ricky Ross, one of America's biggest drug dealers, unwittingly became a main player in the Central American drug connection that sent millions of American dollars in drug money to Nicaragua. The CIA's plan was to promote and finance the Contra-Revolutionary group that was trying to depose the socialist Sandinista government in the Central American country.
Russia had gave the Sandinistas $100 million to fight with. Congress had cut off all the money from the Contras. So now the Sandinistas had an advantage.
President Ronald Reagan and then Vice President George H.W. Bush fretted over Soviet influence in Nicaragua.
They would be in our backyard. I believe that they felt it was more valuable to sacrifice a particular sector of America and a race of people in America in order to save the whole country.
Former LAPD detective and author Michael Rupert has written extensively about the government's involvement in drug trafficking around the world. He says politics isn't the only motive.
The control of the cash from the drug trade is of vital importance to Wall Street because drug profits are laundered onto corporations and banks' net profits.
But the CIA's policy of looking the other way wasn't just for the benefit of big business or crushing revolutionary movements abroad. Domestically, drugs and drug lords were used to quell black activist movements that challenged the status quo. Iman Abdul Ali Musa was a major drug dealer in Oakland, California, where the revolutionary leftist Black Panther Party had its headquarters.
So the government wanted to stop the black movement in its tracks. So technically it used us, drug dealers. It gave us high-quality heroin and cocaine to pump into our own neighborhood, and then we sold it to our people to break the back of the revolution.
The drug ravaged Oakland's poor community, just like Ricky Ross's drug empire ruined parts of L.A. The worst of the crack epidemic may be in the past, and this community is trying to rebuild, but an ugly legacy remains. Now, this is the South Central neighborhood where Ricky Ross got started.
Yeah, that's something because, President Bush or Reagan brought in all them drugs, and he was the one that started the Just Say No campaign. So on one hand, he's saying to tell you just say no. On the other hand, they bringing in the drugs.
And studies show that the DARE program actually increased drug use.
So, when we go back to, when we read Psalms 83, it says, they that hate thee, these people hate you. I don't care. You can't. And the thing about it is, God know what he made. You understand that? He know what he made. Like, you're going to go out there and you're going to try to pet a snake. You're going to get bit. The bottom line is they got a certain nature in them the way that God designed them. They're going to respond that way. There's no way you're going to be able to love them out of their nature. And then they said they also use the drugs to destroy the black
the movements, right?
The black movements, like the Black Panthers. Because what was the Black Panthers trying to do? They was trying to keep drugs from coming to the community. They was trying to keep the police brutality down. They also was trying to feed the poor their own people.
Feeding the poor. They was policing their community.
And what's evil about that? That they came in with the COINTELPRO and destroyed them, brothers.
And a lot of our people believe that bad stigma affiliated with the Black Panthers. Foolishly believe that nonsense. Like they was out there doing some radical madness.
Yeah, that's what they say. They said that they was a hate group and all of that. And how you a hate group when you showing that kind of love for your people?
And it'd be the white man that hate your guts telling you who's a hate group and who not.
That's the crazy part about it. The people that actually hate you is telling you that
hey,
the people that's looking out for you is a hate group.
Right. And now people believe it.
Yeah, the Negroes are a phenomenon, man. Okay, so let's go ahead and get Habakkuk 1 and 4.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 4. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth.
Because we always get the wrong judgment. You're not going to get justice in a justice system that's not made for you. Even when they made the system, when they say all men created equal, you were still picking cotton. You understand that the system was not made for you.
And it says, judgment never go forth, for the law is slack. And the wicked Esau doth compass about the righteous. We supposed to be the righteous. It's telling that the white man is going to be ruling and making the laws. That's what that's saying. That's why the law is slack.
Yeah, don't believe us. Read Malachi 1 and 1 through 4. To find out who the wicked is. All right, so let's go ahead and go to where we at now. It's
Zechariah
11 and 5.
Give an example of that slack judgment.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Who's possessing a Negro right now here in America? Whose last name do you have? Where you get your last name from? Whose passport do you need to travel? It said they slay them and hold themselves not guilty. How many not guilty pleas have we seen?
Have we seen any police officer get locked up? It's the real question.
Not really. I mean, I've seen brothers get choked out on videos. Brothers get shot. Brothers laying down on the ground with their hands up get shot. They still not guilty. It's crazy, man.
And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
They that sell them, who sold us? Who sold and bought us?
Who was on the auction blocks?
Who's saying God bless America? And who's the shepherds that don't pity us? Your Jesse Jacksons. What's the latest one they got? What's the name? Jamal or something?
Who?
Jamal Bryant, the pastor. They rolling him out now because they figured they didn't got all the miles they can get out of Jesse Jackson.
And Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton like a shriveled up raisin.
Yeah, Al
Some of that
Sharpton look
brother,
like a
man.
raisinette. They said, man, we done wore that brother out. Go to Matthew's 2 and 17. You have to understand why the crafty counsel is against the Israelites. Oh, Exodus, yeah. I'm sorry, Exodus. Let's get Exodus, because we have to understand what the crafty counsel is about. So let's just get through this real quick. Exodus, let's read 8 through 22. Because remember what they tried to do to Moses when they thought Moses was going to come on the scene. Remember that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 8. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us. So get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters,
good coons,
to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Sipra, and the name of the other Pua. And they said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and them upon the and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So they've always been trying to kill the men. You see, this is way back in Egypt. They tried to kill the black man.
Exactly.
And Hispanic man. This is going way back. And they still trying to do it today with the autism that affect young black men more. The dropping the drugs in the community. The poison rate. Yeah, the water. Like the poison in the water. All these type of evil plans that they got. Go ahead.
But the midwives feared God.
You see, our sisters back in the day wasn't about the Planned Parenthood back in the day. They wasn't hitting the abortion clinic. That's what that's saying right there. That's when our sisters had their minds right. And Lord's will, our sisters returned to that.
But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive?
Because not only did they fear God, they smart enough to know once you get rid of our men, we're going to go next. Because the men is the ones that stand up for the women. That's what the sisters got to understand today. You go against your man, you going against yourself. Go ahead.
And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come unto them. Therefore God dwelt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because of the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Okay, so they always been trying to kill us. That's the point. When they knew that Moses was coming to to deliver the Israelites, they tried to kill all the male children. So let's go to Christ. Because remember, let's see what happened with Christ. Because we building on something right here. We building on something. Go ahead and get that. Matthew 2 and 13.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2 and verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under.
You see that? So he killed all the children. So because he understood that the king was coming. So let's go to Revelation, because they understand.
Before you move on, though, remember that point. It says from 2 years old and under. So why would he kill children up to 2 years if it was just a little small baby?
Exactly.
Because he wasn't a baby like in the manger, like Christianity teaches.
Right. Another foolish lie. All praises.
Yeah, let's get to the point to why they trying to kill us today. Because you got to understand, this cycle going to continue. As they understand, when the Israelites raise back up, they're going to be the ones that rule under Christ. So you think that they're not going to try to stop that from happening just like they stopped it in the past? Go ahead and get this right here.
The book of The book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000.
So as you read on, it tells you all the tribes will be sealed. And once that's done, that's going to usher in the return of Christ. They understand that. So when Christ comes back, they going into captivity, and the Israelites are going back into rulership. That's what's going to happen. So that's the whole reason why we're under attack. A lot of us don't know that because we don't know who we are and we don't know who the enemy is.
Exactly.
Yeah, before we continue, let's play that video. It's a real good video. Check it out. It's a must. I think y'all need to share this video. Share this video amongst all social media. The little kids putting work in.
Shalom! Shalom! We're the kids of IUIC alone, and we're trying to spread this message around the world.
Did you know that the descendants of the slave trade were actually the Israelites in the Bible?
You mean you didn't know that?
I know you have one of those.
Haven't you ever read Deuteronomy chapter 28? The curse. The curse says we fit the curse. Wait, stop. You mean these pastors aren't teaching this?
You do know those were Israelites on the slave ships, right?
That's Deuteronomy 28:68. So why do you think they had yoke of iron on our necks during slavery?
This ain't no comic book. That's really happened.
That's Deuteronomy 28:48.
Babies and young children were taken from their parents and sold to other slave owners.
That's Deuteronomy 28:41.
All these countries are assigned
to identify who the Israelites are today. That's Deuteronomy 28:46.
Why do you think we're getting killed unjustly?
Every day. That's Deuteronomy 28:50. So what are we saying? That he blacks, Hispanic,
Native American.
All the Israelites. The history is in the Bible. So what are you waiting for? Go read it. It's time to wake up.
All praises, all praises. Yeah, most definitely Share that video amongst all social media.
And that's how that's how we counteracting the gang activity. With that stuff like that right there.
Let's get Proverbs 4:16.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief.
You see that? Because a lot of times, like Officer read earlier, how they in these gangs, they're on one accord. They all about making that fast money. In poverty,